Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. I am Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And in today's video, I am going to show you how to make peach jam without pectin. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to turn all the peels and the pits and the little bits that come off the peaches into some delicious peach syrup. So the first thing that I want to mention about this video is that I am kind of recycling a previous video that I made maybe 3 years ago. And it didn't get my channel wasn't very big, and I didn't get a whole lot of hits because of the fact my channel wasn't very big. And I just decided, I am going to give it a fresh look, but the actual process that you're going to see me doing in making this peach jam is from the previous video. So that's why I'm saying I'm recycling it. And also for those who are newer and don't realize, my daughter and her family lived with us for quite a long time, and I was using the baby kitchen that I called it, which is the kitchen I cooked in because she was using the main kitchen for her and her big family. Anyway, okay, just so you know that, now we're going to move on. Making peach jam without pectin is so easy to do. Peaches are naturally high in pectin, so you honestly don't need to add any more. It often takes a little bit longer to cook it than it does if you're going to make it from pectin. If you want to use boxed pectin, then I would recommend following the recipe that is usually given inside the box of pectin, because this recipe is pretty much for making it without any added pectin. To make this jam, you are going to need 4 pounds of peaches, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3 cups of sugar, and a half a cup of water. And that is it. It is pretty darn simple. The first thing that you're going to need to do before you get going on this is you're going to want to wash your jars and wash your lids. Never forget to wash canning lids. I have done it myself. Take them right out of the box, pop them on the jar. But we don't really know where they've been, in a factory, dust, anything. So I always find it a good practice to just make sure I wash my lids. And of course, pull out enough rings for the jars. This recipe will make you about 6 half-pint jars. After the jars are ready to go, the first step you're going to want to do is to blanch your peaches. The basic steps of blanching are you're going to put your peaches into boiling water for about 40 seconds. You're going to then put them into ice water, and this will make them super easy to peel. To begin with, I always score the top of my peaches, which is basically just cutting an X in them. And then this way, when they are put into the boiling water, they end up much easier to peel. Take time to prepare some ice water while you're waiting for your water to boil. Add your peaches and let them blanch or come to a boil for about 40 seconds. Remove your peaches from the boiling water and put them right into your ice water. And repeat the process until you've peeled all the peaches. And you may notice as I'm doing this that I am taking all the peels and putting them into a saucepan. And that is what I'm going to eventually use to make my peach syrup. Once you have all your peaches peeled, it is time now to cut them in half. And these are freestone peaches, which means the pit in the center comes out really simply. They also have what are called clingstone peaches, and you don't want those because the peach does stick to the pit quite a bit. So for canning or jam making, always make sure your peaches are freestone peaches. At this point, you're going to want to stop and take a minute to add your 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. This will help your peaches to not turn brown while you're getting them cut up and prepared. Continue blanching and peeling and cutting up your peaches until you have worked through all 4 pounds. Now it's time to start the jam making process. Begin by adding that half cup of water into a saucepan and your 3 cups of sugar. Stir that up until the sugar melts and comes to a boil. And then it is time to add your peaches. You're going to want to stir that up really well, and then you're going to want to let that come back up to a boil. As the peaches cook, they will naturally break down, but if you want to speed up the process, you can use your immersion blender. That will make the whole process of turning this into jam also go much faster. It's really up to you. When I did this batch, I kind of think I over pureed it. I would have rather left a few more fruit chunks, so it really is up to you. Now you're going to let this simmer and stir. You don't want it to scorch, so make sure your temperature isn't too high, but that you do have a simmer. And as it cooks, it will start to slowly turn into jam, and you'll just need to do a little check. The first check that I do is just to kind of lift my spoon up, and if the syrup is coating the spoon and it kind of sheets off, that's an indication that you may be getting close to being done. The other way is to take a spoon and put that into your freezer. You could actually have a couple of them, and then when you run your finger up the spoon, and the jam does not slide together anymore, that is another great indication that you are done. I wanted to make this a little bit more clear, so I grabbed a clip from a previous jam making No Pectin video that I have to show you. You can take a cold plate and put a scoop of the jam on there and then run your finger through it. It can be kind of hot, so you can also use a spoon. And basically, after you do that, if it leaves a trail, meaning that no jam comes into the center, then that's a great indication that your jam is ready. You can do the same thing also by just simply dipping a spatula into it and do the same process. Take the back of a spoon, push it through. If it leaves a trail, you are good to go. For this batch of jam, I was going to be canning it. Now, you don't always have to can it. You could also put it into the freezer, in freezer bags, freezer proper containers, or anything like that. But I ended up, as you can see, with these 6 half-pint jars. If you're going to can it, you will need to then, of course, clean off the top to make sure there's no sticky jam. Put your lids in there, put your rings on, finger tight, and put this into your canner. Make sure that your jars are covered with water, at least by 1 inch, and allow that water to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you're going to put the lid back on, and you're going to can that for 10 minutes. Once your time is up, remove your jars and allow them to cool without being disturbed. I usually let mine sit overnight. All right, it's time to make that peach syrup. Now, I usually start this process while my jam is being made because there's a lot of time there while you're waiting for it to boil and turn to jam. But the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cover those peaches and those pits with some water. Mine happened to be boiling water just to kind of get the process going. You're going to want to bring this to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer and, of course, stir it. And you want to check this frequently because you don't want this to scorch and you don't want it to run out of water. You just want the liquid to be extracted from all those peaches to get all that great flavor. I usually let mine simmer for an hour or maybe even longer. Once my peach peels and pits have finished simmering, I put them through a strainer and just let them sit on the counter and make sure I get all that liquid drained through. Typically now I will let this set, sometimes even overnight, but it doesn't have to be that long. But there will be more sediment that is down at the bottom that you will need to run through a smaller mesh strainer, just like I'm doing there, to get your final product. For this batch, I was left with about 1.5 cups, which was perfect. And now I made my syrup. I added that 1.5 cups and my 3 cups of sugar. I let that come to a boil so all the sugar I knew was well dissolved, and then I took it off the heat and let it cool down. In the end, it turned out perfect. I ended up with about 3/4 of a quart jar full of delicious peach syrup. This can be frozen, it can be used right away. I just ended up putting it into the refrigerator and we enjoyed it over the next, who knows, I don't remember anymore, but maybe 2 to 3 months. All right, ladies, that ends today's video, and I hope it inspires you to take advantage of all these fresh peaches that are out during the summer right now so that you can kind of enjoy a little hint of summer all winter long with your jam. I hope you have a great weekend and week ahead, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye-bye.